somewhere internally I just had this strong feeling that came from somewhere deep inside of me that just said, look, life doesn't have to be this way, and there's infinite potential for it.
I didn't then. A lot of people these days don't spend any time on their minds.
Hey, this is our question and answer session. We really love these questions, so just keep them coming. Email us, DM us, whatever you need to do. We're here with Kaushik, who's asked us a question. So what's the first one?
The first one's a juicy one. What are your thoughts about social media?
Who's going to take that one first?
I'll start. I think, hey, look, I use a lot of social media for my business. I think it's a wonderful platform for business and things like that, but I think it's used a lot of the wrong way, to be honest. I think that these days, after COVID, I think there's been a real pullback from Facebook. I think that there's a lot of fake news, fake information out there. People want real. And I think that there's also an awakening in social media. A lot of people are living this massive big life on social media, and it's just not real. They're unhappy, they're lonely. I think some of the people that have got the biggest followers on social media are probably desperately unhappy, There's a lot of stuff going on. I've done heaps of it myself, taking photographs of food when you're at restaurants. I mean, what good does that have? What do you get from that? I mean, I think it's examples of not being present. And I think we're constantly putting stuff on social media, showing how much ego is in our world and how we're not present with what we're really experiencing at the moment. Because if you're taking a photo of a wonderful meal at a restaurant, you're doing it A, to show someone that you're at some fantastic flash restaurant, and you're doing it B, to show them you're rich and famous, and C, how can you be enjoying the company in the restaurant when you're taking a photo? So I feel sorry for a lot of the people that are all over social media doing stuff. I've really pulled out of social media a lot. My personal life's not in it. I don't give people a snapshot of who I really am in social media anymore. So I just don't think it's real, a lot of it. What do you think?
Like very, very similar. I mean, it's, social media has given us the ability to create the persona of a life that isn't really real. And I can't say too much about this, but I work with some of those people, and I can say firsthand that how empty it actually is. And, I'm trying to think of exceptions in terms of people who are using it that way. Social media to me is a really interesting one because it's a platform that gives anyone the ability to get a message out, or, like you, Cameron, I use it, but people have tried to get me, Sridhar, put a bit of your personal self in there. No, I'm not interested in that because I can't really represent that on a camera. That is, it just doesn't.
I think it makes the world smaller, which I love. I love the fact that you can get ideas, and you can use Pinterest, and you can get ideas and thoughts about buildings or cars or people or whatever you're trying to do. So it does make the world smaller, and I love seeing other examples of other people's lives in some way. But I think how many people on social media are really genuine?
Well, yeah, I mean that's what it is for me. Is that so? What I'm quite vocal on this topic, and the main reason I'm vocal on it is it's ruining a lot of people's lives. So I'm not here to be judgmental, but I don't know that people know what they've got into. And what I see is that social media has given a public platform for all the things that we were doing anyway, but not publicly. So I'll tell you what I mean by that. So before social media was there, people sought recognition from other people. We did things because we wanted recognition. Well, with social media, that's now transferred into, I have a limitless amount of people I can get recognition from. And so it's become a public way of doing those things. But I think what people don't often realize is, and I think you're alluding to it already, Cameron, is all it's doing is magnifying those insecurities that they already had. And it can be worse because they're getting, somebody reads something, hits a thumbs up button, and all of a sudden they're like, they like me. I'm like, they don't even know you. It's like, but it's getting fed that way, but it's a false feeding. It's actually, what it's really become, in my estimation, is an addiction. And it's become, it's actually magnified addictions that were there before, because we now have this whole world that we can do that from. But I'm with you, like what it's ended up being is people creating lives that the more we try to create a life that isn't really true to us, the actually worse that we feel, more empty that we feel inside. And that's what's actually happening to people. And I think it's a tragedy. At the same time, for me, it's a platform to get my message out. For you, I know from having worked with you on both sides here, to have you as a representative to sell someone's houses, they'll be fortunate to have that. For me, I know that if somebody hears my message, it could be something life-changing for them if they end up doing something. Yeah. It's a platform to get that out. But the problem is when we, to get ourselves out and say, hey, the service is there if you want it. And I think that's a wonderful platform that we didn't used to have. But if we then make it about, this is about me, this is, I want you to look at me, I want you to look at all the things you were saying, it then exacerbates those addictive insecurities.
I also think there's different parts of social media. I think that the ability to get onto podcasts, to learn stuff, to talk to people, to get information. I listen to heaps and heaps of different podcasts, Joe Rogan, all those sort of people, about creating wealth, about real estate, about life, about meditation. The world is so wonderful on that social media stuff, and I think that's the key to it. And I think that we'll see in years to come that it'll be a real change in social media rather than being about us. Yeah. It'll be about a greater community of helping or being better. I think if you use social media to help others, that's wonderful. If you use social media about how great you are or how great your life is, that'll disappear in the next few years.
Yeah, I hope so, because it's just it's quite boring too. Like I get on and it used to be more educational. I'm like, what can I learn from being on here? And now it's like, I'm so happy I'm the best human being on the planet because I got this. Or I'm being facetious, but what's that?
I blocked them.
I'm actually getting rid of a lot of it, and it's a bit of a shame because it is. Yeah. It is a platform, but that would be great if that could happen that way. It is amazing because it does give anyone the ability to do stuff that only celebrities used to have the opportunity to do, but it depends on how we use it. And unfortunately, what I've seen mostly is the restaurant pictures and the
holiday pictures standing on the beach in Fiji.
Well, yeah. I mean, in a previous podcast, we were talking about how as a young kid, I mentioned it, I can't remember what the exact topic was, about authenticity. And it was like, as a young kid, we do something and somebody says, oh, hey, you did really well. And then from then on, we don't do that activity just to do it anymore. We do it to please someone. And so for me, social media is like, when we do something, we're not doing it just to do it most of the time. We're doing it as, what reaction am I going to get from this? Yeah. And I love your word, like, we're just not present, in that. I would love to see it be what you've just said. I think it could be that platform that...
It worries me a little bit where we're going to go, because my kids at the moment are just addicted to it. TikTok, Instagram, all those sort of things, like Snapchat, I think they're on. So, it's so addictive. They're on it all day, all night. It's not healthy.
Yeah, no, it's like... and then it's reinforcing to them, because what people do on social media is, it's like television. I often say to people, I'm going to go for it. Sometimes I might say something controversial, but if you look at television, if you actually just did a search, Google search or whatever kind of search on these people and what they really look like in life, they don't look like they do on TV. They just look like your next door neighbor. Yeah. And the problem is social media gives everybody the opportunity to become that. Everything is a show, and then when our kids are watching it or whatever, when we're watching it, we're reinforcing, I don't look like that, I'm less than, and it becomes, reinforces.
And this is why there's more depression, there's more suicides, it's all on the increase, anxiety, all of that's on the increase, because everyone's looking at everyone else and thinking that they're not good enough. Yeah. So they're actually, it's all wrong. Yeah. Because they are good enough, they're just looking at someone who's actually been fake. Yeah.
So I guess with anything, it's a platform that could do a lot of good, but really, the thing is people are still going to be people, and social media is it's given people, insecurities and all. It's just given people a massive platform to be able to hear all of those.
There is an awakening though, because I've seen a lot more information out there about people. There was a podcast I watched the other day, and it was a guy that's got millions and millions of followers, and he's looks to live a wonderful life with cars and houses and women and all this sort of stuff. And then he was, that was the first few years, and now he's on there. I just watched a snippet of him, and he's saying that he's lonely. Yeah. He's the most loneliest person in the world but he looks like he's not. So there's a real awakening out there, and I know
really great.
Ed Sheeran did something, and he said that like when he sees people taking selfies, you know, and they all want people to go back to them and say, geez, you look so good, or you look so hot, or, you know, whatever. Actually, his heart goes out to those people because, you know, he thinks that, shit, they're having a bad day, you know, like, and, you know, I just want to ring them up and I want to make sure that they're okay.
Yeah. And it's great for people like those two to come out, you know, because people, like it or not, we follow, you know, people follow people that have those kinds of profiles. So if they can come out and say that, then that's, you know, I'm really, it sounds great. And I really hope if there can be an awakening on social media, it can be a very powerful tool, you know, if we learn how to use it.
Yeah. What's next, mate?
Next question. Why are you doing this podcast?
Yeah, wow. There's a big one. Right. Yeah, I suppose we were having a little bit of a chat earlier on about this a little bit, and you know, I think I suppose in some ways it's changed and not changed, but for me, it's really my inspiration is just I've always known it, but over the past few years, for whatever reason, I think it's intensified. There's just so many negative sources of information in the world. Like, you know, turn on the TV, it's negative. Turn on the radio, it's negative. Speak to people, they're in a negative mind state. You know, talk to a college, everything is negative, and it's just negative, negative, negative. And I know that you and I, Cameron, are people that have been able to continue on our journeys of success, or whatever you want to call it, through good times and hard times and all of that. And I would like to let people know that, you know, one of the main reasons is it doesn't really matter what's happening in the world if you do some powerful things like surround yourself with, you know, I don't call them positive messages, but, you know, uplifting messages, education that can help you achieve what you want during any time. I'm really interested in providing something for people that is different, that if they want to go to a place and be uplifted instead of, you know, I'm almost at a cuss word there, brought down. I feel quite passionate about this, you know, brought down by everything. I wanted to, you know, and we were sitting there. I remember sitting at your house chatting one day after a group thing that we had done there, and we were just catching up, right? And I think it was you who said, wow, if we hit a record button on this, you know, because we were just having a conversation that was uplifting and positive. And you know, to me, that is the starting point of this podcast. And for me, it's really to provide something. I'd love these conversations, and I feel great having them with you and with Kaushik here, and to provide something for people, a place that they can come and just get, you know, people who are dedicated and not just saying it. That's the other thing. Like, you know, I know you and I, while we may not be perfect, we're both dedicated to walking that journey of authenticity. And I just really feel strongly to share that with people, to give them a space to come to and be able to connect with that when they want.
I mean, I'm much the same. I mean, I think to myself, why am I doing this? And I mean, I have no reason, you know, but I'm doing it because it feels right, you know, and I enjoy doing it. And I actually enjoyed coming to talking to the two of you guys and discussing life. And I think we're not doing it for anybody else. We're actually doing it for ourselves, because you actually learn a lot just sitting here talking, you know, the three of us actually, because behind the scenes we talk to Kaushik a lot about life and about what he's doing and stuff like that. And I think we're learning stuff about ourselves and how to improve our own lives. And I think that must be good for other people as well. And I think there'll be something that someone picks up on me. I've bumped into people in cafes. I met someone in C1 before I come here, and she was saying she's watched the podcast and really enjoys it. And it's nice hearing that, because you make an impression on someone's lives. And I know from my own experience of being in life for 40 odd years and business for 20 odd years, I've made a lot of mistakes, you know, and I think I could have been better or done better. And it's funny because everyone looks at me and thinks I've done so well. And I look at myself and I think, shit, I've made a lot of mistakes, you know, and have I done that well? And I think that if someone can pick up a few of the tips from me and have a better life, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, and I think so many people, and one of the things that really sits with me is that I've spent so much of my life chasing what I perceived I was missing the most, and it was the entirely wrong thing. And I'm stop. You know, maybe my kids one day will look back at these podcasts. They don't watch them at the moment because they think I'm stupid, but you know, but one day they're going to watch.
Kids do with their parents.
They're going to watch these podcasts and they're going to look back at them, and you know, they're going to think maybe they'll get something from it. You know, and if I could get one of my kids to get something from them, a life lesson from me, I've self-made and parenting or wealth creation or business, then to me that's pretty special.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
That's a powerful question.
No
Yeah.
motive. No motive.
No motive. Yeah. Coming from a pure place. You're on fire with these questions today, Kaushik.
Well, that's a good segue to the next one, which is what keeps you going?
All right. You gonna go for that one first?
Yeah, I think that I think what keeps me going in business and in life is a thirst for knowledge and information, and it's not money, it's not being successful, it's not being the top real estate agent in New Zealand. It's about being the best person I can possibly be, whether that be the best father or the best health and fitness that I can learn about, or the best businessman. It's just generally improving. I think there's a great line that as soon as you stop moving forward, you're actually going backwards. So I'm just trying to learn as much as I can about life to try and give me a better life and longer life. And I love the holistic spiritual side of it. As I said, I do cold plunges. The moment I've been getting up at 5:15, I do half an hour of breathing in the morning, then I do a cold plunge, and then I do either a run or gym. So I'm loving that sort of holistic and spiritual side of it and the fitness side of it, more so than anything at the moment. But the bigger picture always gets you moving, like it's not chasing the money. It's about the bigger picture is actually providing for your family, or having the ability to enjoy some holidays with your family, or, there's a bigger picture out there that'll keep you moving. You've got to identify what that picture is, and I think it changes all the time.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, cool. I had a period of my life there, close to 20 years, where I had heard about purpose. And if I found my purpose, then life would take this, great meaning on, and I would jump to a different level of existence. And I was desperate. So I wanted to find it. And I fell into a lot of the pitfalls of chasing something but not finding it. And then there was one of my teachers said something to me, which was, find the something or some things, whatever they are. Find those things that there isn't an actual option of whether you're going to do them or not. Like, you have to do them because it's who you are. And I feel really fortunate. That was a changing moment for me. Like, I had several, milestones along the way of self-discovery, in the sense of, what I wanted to do with my life, kind of thing. And that was one of them. And, I feel fortunate it takes a bit of digging. I know you wouldn't mind me saying you're doing some of that digging yourself. I have done and discovered some answers. I've done the digging to know what I'm here for. And, what keeps me going, I'm sort of hearing that question as what keeps me going through the tough times and, those kinds of the challenging times. And it's that I can't not do it. Like, I've come to those things, and I'm like you, Cameron. If it changes, if the clarity in my life changes, I'm going to change with it. But there's certain things that have been there for so long now that I just know that's what I'm here for. I don't know how to explain it, but it's not like I'm not going to give up. It's like it's not a possibility. It's not an option. And so I think what keeps me going is that I've done, I've had the good fortune to be pointed in the direction of discovering what that is. I've been able to discover it, and I live and breathe that each day. And I think that's in those tough times, because there's times I feel like,
Of course.
I feel like giving up, and I'm just like, something's not working.
Life's like that.
It's like that. And those times I'm just like, I can't. It's not an option. And so what's next?
I think that once you've had a taste of authenticity or what life could possibly be, and I think we've all had snapshots of it. We're not maybe living that whole life, but once you've had a taste of it, it shows you where you can be.
Yeah.
And I've certainly had tastes of what it could be like if I get it all right, or I change my life to be like that. So, that's what I'm chasing.
And you see it and you can't get it. You have to keep moving towards it, don't you?
Yeah,
because
you do.
I think I would love for everybody to know what that is for them, and we wouldn't have any giving up. We would see so many more amazing creations on the
Well,
planet.
I think that the more people are living in that world, the better world we're going to have.
Yeah.
Imagine, I kind of believe that not that many people are onto this at the moment, and that they're living a life that they think they should be living but not. But imagine if so many billion people in the world were all living the lives that they wanted to do. We'd be able to create so much.
it'd
There'd
be
be so
powerful.
much. There'd be no poverty. There'd be everything. I think would be solved.
I agree. That's the answer, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
deep.
Well, I know. Yeah, we've gone there with the questions, but I think that's about it for our quick questions day today. So we'll thanks,
wrap it up.
Cameron. Thanks again for a great chat, and Kaushik for setting us all up and giving us some great questions to think about. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time on Get Real.
Thank you.